real estate is done differently in each state and region of the U.S. From what is expected of buyers and sellers to terminology, processes, and documents, it is good to know what to expect. Today, we discuss some of the differences of buying a home in Georgia versus the state you may be coming from. And make sure to stay tuned as I will share with you the most surprising aspect in Georgia real estate. Let's do it. Hey, Jonathan McCoy here with Keller Williams Realty, Chattahoochee North, and I am Atlanta's Real McCoy. I get contacted by people just like you wanting to move to Atlanta, Georgia, and the metro Atlanta area, looking to buy a house. One thing I have learned over the years while showing clients homes who are moving from other states is that real estate is different from state to state. Today, I want to discuss some of those differences so you are not surprised during the buying process. First, let's talk about homes here and what to expect when you see homes for sale. To start with, it seems like in some states and areas, when selling your home, the sellers are expected to fix everything or most things and have new or newer systems in the house. Some buyers coming in are expecting old roofs to be replaced by the seller, HVAC systems to be updated, water heaters not to be 15 years old, and new or newer appliances. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that is not the standard here in Georgia. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of homes that have been updated and are on the market ready to sell. But coming across sellers who have 20-plus-year-old roofs, or HVAC systems that are original to the 1990 build is not unusual. Here in Georgia, it does seem like more people are concerned with kitchen updates and bathroom renovations than they are with roofs, HVAC systems, siding, or water heaters. So just prepare yourself for that. Next, energy efficiency is not our number one priority. When I have clients that come from up north, they are expecting double pane windows and good insulation in the attics. And there are houses that have these, but usually these are newer builds. When I show homes that are built in the 80s or earlier, I'd say maybe 1 in 4 or 5 homes has updated windows, maybe 1 in 9 or 10 homes has sufficient insulation. Once again, it's just not a priority here. One thing that is important to check about homes in Georgia is if they have termite coverage and retreat and repair bonds. Georgia is the second worst state for termites behind Florida. You want to make sure that you get a specific termite inspection when having an inspection done on a house you're under contract for. You do not want to get surprised by getting a home that's filled with termites. And once you get a home, make sure that you do some kind of termite treatment to prevent termites from sinking their teeth into your home. We're now going to jump right into the process of buying a home and go all the way to closing, talking about what may be different. First, sellers expect all offers to come with a pre-qualification letter or a pre-approval letter from the lender. When you submit your offer, make sure you have talked with the lender and gone through the pre-qualification process before submitting offers. Next up is everything must be in writing. While I can tell a buyer or a seller what the other party is willing to do, only documents that are in writing and signed are binding when it comes to real estate. So if you don't see it in a document written out and you want it done, it needs to be in writing and signed. When making an offer, you usually put down a certain amount of something called earnest money. In many states, this is known as good faith money. It works the same here in Georgia as it does in most states. This is the money you put up that, as long as you go all the way through to closing, goes towards your closing cost. If you end up breaking contract, to get this money back, you can only break contract for reasons specified in the contract. Once under contract, you have a specified time in the contract to go through your due diligence period. This is the most surprising thing about Georgia real estate that is different than most states. Most states have a period that is known as the right to inspect. Basically, you have time to get an inspection on a house and ask for repairs from the seller that were found in the inspection. If both parties can't agree on repairs from the inspection report, then the buyer can terminate. In Georgia, we go further than that. In the due diligence period, you get an inspection and negotiate the repairs to be done based on the inspection report. But during the due diligence period, the buyer can break contract for any reason. The buyer can walk away from the deal and get their earnest money back. Even if the seller is willing to repair everything that's found in an inspection report, the buyer can still walk. If the buyer determines that they don't want to move forward for any reason they have, whether it be they figure out they don't like the neighborhood, or maybe they don't like the school system, or the buyer's just having a bad hair day, they can break contract during due diligence and walk away. Buyers have a lot of power during this time period. When it comes to inspections, do not expect the seller to repair or replace everything that's found in the report. That is just not going to happen. You need to be prepared to just present to the seller what is most important or pressing to you and ask them to address these issues. Or you can determine an amount of money you want to be taken off the sales price of the home or added to the seller paid closing costs. I suggest that you stick with the items that could be a danger to you or anyone else that's in the house, or the ones that could cost a major amount of money down the road. If you have electrical wires that may cause a fire, that is something you probably want to ask to get fixed. If you have an HVAC system that doesn't work, that could be a big expense. But if you have a doorbell that doesn't work, or an electrical cover plate that's just broken or missing on an outlet, these are pretty inexpensive and can be easily fixed. This is where a great agent can walk you through and help you decide what to ask for. Now, you have the right to ask for whatever you want fixed. Just know that the seller has the right to say no. The rest of the items that we talk about today are around closing on the home. First, expect both buyer and seller to be present at the closing table. Unless there was some kind of issue between the buyer and the sellers and they request a separate closing time, you will both be at the closing table. I think that this is kind of nice because you can ask certain things about the house that you may not know, or get details that can come in handy from the seller. We use closing attorneys here also in Georgia and not title companies. The closing attorney works for the lender, or if there's no loan, for the cash buyer. By default, the buyer pays all closing costs. You can ask the seller to help with paying with some or all of the closing costs, but you will need to specify the exact amount in the contract. Part of closing costs are some taxes. In Georgia, we have 2 taxes if you're obtaining a loan and just 1 tax if you're not. Those taxes are the transfer tax and the intangible tax. For the transfer tax, the rate is $1 per $1,000 based upon the sales price of the property. So if you buy a $500,000 home, you will pay $500 for the state of Georgia transfer tax. This tax is done to everybody whether you're a cash buyer or get a loan. The intangibles tax is $3 per $1,000 of the loan amount. If you buy a $300,000 home and you get a loan amount for $250,000, the amount for this tax, which again is just based off the loan amount, would be $750. Another thing with closing costs is if you're getting a loan, you must buy lender's title insurance. And by default, you will also purchase buyer's insurance. Now, the lender's title insurance is required, but you are not obligated to buy buyer's title insurance. I strongly recommend that you have buyer's title insurance because this protects you once you've purchased the home from someone coming after you if there's a lien on the property that may not have been discovered before closing. In my 8 years, I've only had one client that's had to use their title insurance coverage, but if they didn't have it, it would have cost them over $10,000 for a lien that was put on the house before they purchased the property. I hope this information was helpful in understanding what may be different about purchasing a home in Georgia versus the state that you're coming from. I get people all the time just like you contacting me about moving here to Atlanta and the metro Atlanta area. If you have questions about buying and selling real estate here in Georgia, please feel free to reach out to me. You can give me a call, send me a text, or shoot me an email. I'd love to assist you in any way I can. And if you found this video helpful, smash that thumbs up button, click on the notification bell, and hit the subscribe button. I post videos just like this every Thursday. Thanks, and I will see you next time.